It's Friday, and Illini fans still have no idea who's coming back from last year's roster and who the new faces might be. So let me give a couple predictions.
You are Locked On Illini, your daily podcast on the Illinois Fighting Illini. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome all to another edition of Locked On Illini. Thank you all so much for making us your first listen each and every day. This episode is brought to you by Mazda. Like our players, we're driven by the details. Highlights make the reel, but the work behind them makes it count. Stay tuned for this week's Moving the Game Forward, the all-new Mazda CX-5, more to every side of you. My name is Sonny Verma, your host here at Locked On, where, of course, you can count on Illini coverage daily. That's right, every single day. Today, it's Friday, and I know I've been waiting, and you've all been waiting, and I'm getting DMs, and I'm getting emails, and the Talk Illini Discord is messaging me, hey, what's the update? What's going on? Who's coming to Champaign? Who's leaving Champaign? And I'm sitting here in front of you at the time of this recording and saying, I don't know. At least there's been no confirmations. I have some guesses, and you know what? It's the Friday episode. Let's chill a little bit. Let's relax a little bit. I did have a couple conversations just over the last 24 hours. Last 4 hours, I guess you can say. And so I guess I can update you on my intel on who I think or is and is not coming back. And of course, I can't say this enough. It's a fluid situation. So, I mean, hold me to whatever standard you want me to hold me on. These are just my thoughts as we go into the weekend. And right now, as of now, we don't hear anything. Okay, so I did want to say that it looks like this John Blackwell situation is going to be down to Duke and Illinois. Travis Branham from On3 basically said the same sort of thing. It's kind of been the consensus as soon as Blackwell had entered the transfer portal, so that isn't much different. I don't think it's that much of a shock that has come down to these two teams. But I am getting feedback that this might actually be leaning towards Illinois in their favor. And in fact, Duke is interested, but the Duke's name is being brought up more so by the agent who might be trying to level up the price that John will ultimately get to sign on for next season. Now, don't get me wrong. Blackwell wants to, at least he's very open to the idea of playing in Champaign. And all I can say is go monitor his social media activity this upcoming weekend, and you might get an answer. But if you're an Illini fan, and not even if you're an Illini fan, if you're from the Blackwell camp, like even if his father, Glenn, wasn't a former Illini player, you take a look at the two situations with who Illinois is bringing back next season. There's such an opportunity for a guy of Blackwell stature and his position and his play to basically come right in and almost write yourself in as an all Big Ten player next year. And with the extra opportunity that you could have some prominent postseason success as proven by what just happened this past March. So I really do think I'm not ready to put in an official prediction yet. If you're in the Talk Illini Discord, just this morning, maybe an hour before I started recording this video, I gave an update on who I think is coming back with percentages yet. But again, Friday, everything is fluid. But as of right now, I do think that if I had to pick where John was going to be playing, I think that's pretty good news for Illini fans. I do think that he's leaning towards Illinois. Obviously, his camp is very interested in coming to Illinois. I think John isn't as gung-ho as his camp is, but he's very open to the possibility. But I think he also realizes that he has one more year of college basketball ahead. And so he's trying to maximize whatever resources he can get in his last year of college basketball, just because his NBA career is so just kind of up in limbo as to how he fits. So if I had to make a prediction right now, that John Blackwell, it's down to Duke and Illinois, according to many of the experts. I'm not proclaiming that, but it looks like if I had to guess right now, I think it does favor Illinois. I will say that any decision made by John, if John does decide to come to Champaign, Illinois will respect his decision immediately. This is not a matter of they're waiting to negotiate with their own guys and figure out how much NIL money that they have left. I've been very clear about this stuff as of 2-3 weeks ago, that making this Final Four run has been a huge boon for the interest in donors in donating to this Illinois program. Now that they can see that they can make it to certain levels, I don't think that the financial resources is going to be a ceiling that Illinois is going to have to deal with, at least for the foreseeable future. I'm not saying that Illinois all of a sudden has become Kentucky or at that level, and probably ultimately, if we're being real about it, Duke can probably still outspend you as well. But Illinois is now comfortably in the 1B tier when it comes to being able to go out and flex their financial resources. I just don't think money's that going to be much of an issue now for Illinois moving forward. And so if John does decide that he's coming back to Champaign, there's no holding pattern. I think they'll get it done. I don't think it's not a matter of, okay, that's awesome, but let's see how much Merck signs for, how much Tommy wants, and how much Zavonimir wants, and how much Jake Davis wants, and then we'll offer you this. No, I think they'll come to an agreement with John Blackwell with the idea that they're still going to be working on #the retention. As for the retention, I'm being mocked in my own Discord because I thought on Thursday we were going to hear news. At least that's what I was told. On Thursday, the first quote-unquote domino would drop. Well, it's Friday morning and still no domino has dropped. So at this point, I don't know if it's still negotiations. You guys have to keep in mind that this is not as simple as putting up making a decision and putting up a social media post and being done with it. In this modern era with the financials being involved, it's not just, uncle taking a look at a contract. Now it's lawyers and other lawyers taking a look at contracts from both sides and making sure every T is crossed and I is dotted. And so I think that's kind of where we're at right now. If I had to give my honest opinion, I don't get a bad vibe from any of the guys when it comes to the retention. Andre, I think, is the one guy who is probably still more up in the air, only because I do think that there's at least interest on his side to explore the NBA route and seeing if he can go to these draft combines, get some feedback, and see if he can make the jump to the NBA. I just think that the family in general is really excited about Andre playing at the next level, despite what maybe all of us kind of garner about him, that, hey, he still needs to develop a shot, and certainly would probably need to work on his passing skills, which I think he could do back here in Illinois. But if the guy who I'm least confident in coming back out of the main players from next year's roster is Andre Stojakovic. He's the one who I'm still kind of monitoring. I can sit here and tell you that I can see a post from Andre saying he's coming back, or that he's testing the NBA waters, or he's entering the transfer portal. And I'm telling you, all three would not surprise me. I wish there was something more concrete on that situation, but unfortunately there isn't. I do promise you, though, I'm doing some weekend traveling this particular weekend, but I'm bringing my laptop with me. So should any news drop and should a domino fall, just make sure you're subscribed to this channel in particular. I'll be going live as soon as I can sit down and hit that record button and do a rapid reaction video. Again, as of this recording, no official news has dropped. Blackwell seems to be down to Duke versus Illinois, but I'm feeling pretty good if you're an Illini fan. But with the transfer portal situation, it's always kind of fluid, so you never really know. But again, make sure you subscribe to the channel, and you'll find out immediately my thoughts on what happens as it happens. This is Moving the Game Forward by Mazda. For those who know, the score never tells the whole story. Of course, I want to give one last shout out to Keaton Waggler. 37 minutes played, 20 points. He had 8 rebounds, 2 assists in what was probably his last game as an Illini. But again, what a wonderful career he had at Illinois, and it was just announced that he's going to get his jersey retired. So good for Keaton. And just a reminder that there's more to these players than just the highlights. It's the early mornings, the late night runs, constantly showing up for their squad on and off the court. The all-new Mazda CX-5 moves the same way, with more space to connect, a bold new design, and more intuitive technology. So you can stay connected to the road and every position you play. The all-new Mazda CX-5, more to move every side of you. Also, it's tax time, but for a lot of us, the old way of doing taxes is a lot. Trying to book an appointment, that's not the most convenient. Sitting in a waiting room with a stack of papers, emailing back and forth, and wondering if they really get your situation. But this year, you're getting a major upgrade. Intuit TurboTax now has in-person locations nationwide. You can meet face-to-face with the real tax expert, and your documents get uploaded straight to your TurboTax app on the spot. And just like that, you're done. Your TurboTax expert works to get you every dollar you deserve while you get real-time notifications as you go about your day. It's the relief of walking in and meeting a real person and walking out knowing your taxes are being handled right. Head to turbotax.com/local to find a store near you and to book your appointment. And while we're all sitting here waiting for news on the men's side, that doesn't mean that there's no news on the basketball side, period. In fact, the women's basketball team got a huge commitment over this past week, which I haven't been able to get to, but I wanted to for this Friday fun episode. And this could end up being one of the more important additions of the offseason for this Illini women's basketball team, because this one runs deeper than just being a transfer. This one is about relationships, and certainly about timing. And this is about a program that's slowly starting to figure out exactly who they are. Here's the first thing that you need to understand about Divine Barrage coming to Illinois. This didn't just happen. This wasn't Illinois scrambling, something that they discovered late. They didn't get lucky here. They were already there. They were in this recruitment the first time. They were in her final group. And when she hit the portal, they didn't have to introduce themselves. They already had that trust. And in a lot of ways, that matters more than anything in today's game, because the transfer portal isn't just about talent anymore. It's about relationships, fit, and comfort. And Illinois had all of those already built in. And that's why this move, in a lot of ways, very much just kind of feels intentional. When asked Illini women's basketball coach Shauna Green, she said that we had recruited her hard out of high school and know exactly what she can bring to our program. Shauna says that with a tone of confidence. There's no projection going on here. This is not a guessing game. We've done our homework. We've seen what the upside looks like, and we genuinely do believe in the player. When you're looking at the roster, we can address the obvious, because I know there's going to be a lot of people who saw this news like, hey, top 10 player in her class transferring to Illinois. Why? Then you look at the stat sheet, and it says she averaged 2 points per game at LSU in limited minutes. How big of an addition is this really? And well, yeah, you're right. Those are the numbers, but I don't think that they tell the entire story. We can go back to high school, because I think that's where the starting eval began. We're talking about a consensus, I believe it was top 10 recruit, Gatorade Player of the Year, USA Basketball Trials invite, Elite Camp invites. You see, talent-wise, this is not a fringe player. This is someone who is nationally recognized as one of the elite prospects in the entire country. And the production matched the hype. Nearly 20 points per game, 9 rebounds, 5+ assists. Again, just a complete stat sheet. It was a player who impacted every part of the game. So what happened at LSU? Well, that's simple. Opportunity, limited minutes, crowded rotation, Sweet 16 team. It wasn't a matter of fact that she couldn't play. I almost wonder if she just simply did not have the runway. LSU is one of the elite programs when it comes to women's basketball in the country, and she just could not find her place. And this is where Illinois deserves a lot of credit, because what they're doing here is smart. They're not just chasing stats. They're chasing upside. They're betting on what she was. They're betting on what she can become. And they're assuming that they can understand what a bigger role will unlock. We can talk about her skill set real quick, because this is one that's going to make you excited if you follow women's basketball. 5'11" guard with length, athleticism, shot creation, and she's very versatile defensively. Divine is absolutely a two-way player, and that part is key, that she doesn't need the ball. She can create when asked, but she's one of those that she can do whatever you ask her to do. And especially in women's basketball, that's kind of rare. And that's absolutely very valuable. And how she fits with Illinois? Well, on this roster for the most part next year, the youngest roster in the tournament, it's built on versatility. Players who can handle, they can defend, they can switch, They can play multiple roles, and Barrage is going to fit that almost seamlessly onto next year's roster. Just take a look at the roster itself. You have Destiny Jackson, who's one of the rising stars in the Big Ten Conference. Maddie Weber provides some scoring punch. Jasmine Brown-Hagar, the defense, leadership. Ali Guyton, another developing player. And now Barrage, you're not talking about just depth. You're talking about flexibility and matchup versatility. And you're giving Shauna Green the opportunity to be creative with the lineups that she puts together. And here's a small detail that probably matters as well. Well, she's already played with Destiny Jackson before. That's right. They have an AAU connection. They've got familiarity. They have chemistry. And that's going to help. That's going to help speed up the transition. You can listen to her words exactly because she kind of tells you everything that there's needing to know. I chose Illinois because I want to grow as a player and have the chance to compete in front of my family. She's looking for growth. She's looking for an opportunity. She has a connection. She's got all of that. She's got modern recruiting. And this is what players care about now. And here's the big picture. Illinois is getting really good at this, winning the second time around. They missed her once, but they did not miss her twice. And again, this happening over and over again is not luck. This is persistence. We can zoom out for a second because this is where it gets exciting. Illinois now has 4 top 50 players from the 2025 class. That's how you build a contender. It's not going to be just one star. It's you build a core. You start a foundation, and you continue to level up on that foundation. And don't forget, this team has already made the NCAA tournament. They won a game, and they did it with practically all underclassmen. And now what you're doing is you're adding even more talent on top of that. This Illini women's basketball team is absolutely a team on the rise. And I'll say it again. This move could be a steal. It could be one of the most undervalued moves of the entire offseason. Because if Divine reaches her ceiling, you're not getting a role player. You're getting an absolute difference maker. So when you look at this move, don't look at just the LSU stats. And don't look at the zero in on the limited minutes. Focus on the pedigree. Focus on her production, the fit, and maybe even the opportunity. Because this isn't just a transfer. This is a program move. This is Illinois saying, we have the potential to build something serious. We're not resting on the successes of last year. We want to continue to level up. And Divine, well, she might be one of those pieces that this team needs to get to the next level. Workplace chaos, deadlines stacking up, inbox overflowing, and the one position you have to fill is still open. When the pressure's on and you need the right hire, this is a job for Indeed Sponsored Jobs. Indeed Sponsored Jobs helps you reach the people who actually fit what you're looking for. Skills, experience, location, so you're not just hoping the right candidate stumbles across your post. And here's a stat that says it all. In the minute I've been talking to you, companies like yours have made 27 hires on Indeed, according to Indeed data worldwide. So if you're hiring, spend less time searching and more time interviewing candidates who check all your boxes with Indeed Sponsored Jobs. Spend less time searching and more time actually interviewing candidates who check all your boxes. Less stress, less time, more results. When you need the right person to cut through the chaos, this is a job for Indeed Sponsored Jobs. And listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to help get your job the premium status it deserves at Indeed.com/podcast. Just go to Indeed.com/podcast right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Need to hire. This is a job for Indeed Sponsored Jobs. And also, what if sports were traded like markets? Now you can put your sports IQ to work in real time with Robinhood prediction markets. It's not you against the house. It's you participating in a live market. You can buy or sell your positions live all game long. Use your sports knowledge in the moments that matter. Robinhood prediction markets changes the game. It's people moving the action. So when momentum shifts, you can move with it. I always knew the game, but never had a dynamic way to apply that knowledge. Now I can actually take part live in a market powered by people. You're no longer just a spectator. Play by play, you decide. Trade every play with Robinhood. Now available across the U.S. Download the Robinhood app now to begin. And welcome back. If you haven't already, please consider joining the Everydayers Club, much like Donald did a couple days ago. If you're interested in your shows being ad-free, and you get to join a Discord community of all the Locked On hosts and Locked On fans, definitely consider. The link should be in the show notes. Okay, as I'm recording this, it's announced that Scottie Pippen's son, Justin Pippen, is going to Ohio State. He's committed to Ohio State. Justin was a guy that was mentioned as a possible target for the Illini, so obviously that's not going to happen. And again, I just want to, before I let you guys go, I know a lot of the Illini fan base is restless, and you're waiting to see what's going on. All of us are. But understand that the guys that we have currently on the roster are a lot better than some of the possible replacements are. And so if you have a chance to bring them back, for a guy like, for example, Zavonimir Visic, right? For Illinois, he might be a backup center. And I understand that there was frustrations with his shooting slump that he was at the ending of his season. And you're like, hey, come on, Z, just decide real quick. But no, if Zavonimir were to enter this market right now, he would probably be one of the, 5, 10 most highly paid big men in the country. It's that serious. So Illinois has to take their due diligence, because if you're able to lock down Zavonimir, what you're doing is that's money that you don't have to spend on replacing a big. I mean, just imagine if Tommy stayed and Zavonimir left, well, you still need a backup center, and you're going to have to spend considerable resources on finding that backup center. Why not bring a kid who's already been in that culture and who seemingly wants to come back? Same with a guy like Andrei Stojakovic. If Andrei Stojakovic decided he wanted to be in the transfer portal, he would be one of the, maybe arguably the best wing out there on the market, and he would cost a lot of money. So it's a simple matter of, you lose out on guys like maybe Justin Pippen, who could be a rotational piece in your backcourt, but it doesn't matter. You need to focus on the guys that you have, the hashtag retention. And unfortunately, I think the process is just going slower than us fans would prefer, but it really doesn't matter what we prefer. This has very much become a business now, and a business, when it comes to businesses, you have to tie up all the loose ends. But regardless, as I've mentioned to you, as soon as news drops, I'll be here live as quickly as I can, dropping a rapid reaction episode for you. Hopefully we have something this weekend, and if we do, of course, I'll be on. All right, that's going to wrap things up for this particular episode. Make sure you hit the like button if you haven't already. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel. I think we've gained over 250 subs over the last 10 days. You guys are maniacs, and I appreciate each and every one of you. Until next time, ILL. Love you guys.